Hi there, you're going to want to have your notes open to Lesson 5.3b so that you can follow along with me in this video. Lesson 5.3b covers two goals, but this video is only going to be focusing on the first goal. The first goal is I can write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form when given a graph. Let's take a look. In order to write an equation in slope-intercept form, you need two things. You need the slope and you need the y-intercept. And if you have those two things, you can easily write an equation in slope-intercept form. So here, let's take a look at this graph. This graph shows the cost of tickets at a theme park. We need to look for the slope and the y-intercept. So let's look along the line. Let's find the rise and the run along this line. Now be careful because if you look on the y-axis, you'll see that the first point that touches the y-axis here is in between 16 and 24. So take notice at what they're counting by. They're counting by fours with each of the tick marks. So this is actually at 20. And when I rise up to 24, I'm jumping 4. And then across, my run is 2. Rise up 4, and I run 2. If I continue that pattern, my slope is actually 2 when I simplify that. So I'm going to put the slope right here in the box for slope. The other part of the equation that I need to find is the y-intercept. So I'm just going to take a look at the y-axis. I locate where the line touches it, and it looks like it's at positive 20. And then all I do is put the positive 20 in that box. Now I have the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, y equals 2x plus 20. I just simply need to find those two parts, the slope and the y-intercept, and I have the equation. Let's give it a try. Take a look at your notes for examples 1, 2, and 3. We're going to write the equations of each one of these lines in slope-intercept form. Okay, so here in number 1, we want to locate the slope and we want to locate the y-intercept. If you want to, you can go ahead and write down y equals box x plus box if you want to. You don't have to, and then you can just plug in the numbers that we find. So for slope, I want to locate points along the line. Here's a point. Here's another point. I'm just simply going to find the rise and the run, and that's got to be consistent. Rise, run, and I should land on a point on the line. I can see that the rise is up 3 and the run is 2. Rise 3, run 2. So that means the slope is 3 over 2. And then I want to find the y-intercept, the place at which the line crosses the y-axis. And notice that that is right here at this point, which is located at negative 3. So then I just put the negative 3 right there. And then I have my equation. Now, you could, of course, simplify that equation. I wouldn't have to have it say plus negative 3. I could rewrite this as y equals 3 halves x minus 3. And then that would be my linear equation. Okay, but if the boxes help you to put the numbers in there, you can go ahead and you can do that. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. I'm going to start again by putting my boxes, just because it could be helpful for some of you. So y equals mx plus b. The m and the b are both boxes. Now I'll take a look at the line. Let's find the slope of the line. So it looks like I rise 2, run 1, up 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1, and that's consistent. Do you also notice here that the line has a negative slope? It would be going downhill. Do you see how my run is always to the left every single time? So this is a negative slope. The rise is 2, the run is 1, so that would be negative 2 for my slope. Now for the y-intercept, I'm just simply going to look to see where the line crosses the y-axis. It looks like it crosses right here at positive 5. So positive 5 is the number that I put into the box. So if I want to rewrite this equation, I could say y equals negative 2x plus 5. And now I'll circle it right down below here. Okay, that's the equation of that line. Now this last one here, the line is horizontal right through here, if you can't see it very well. Okay, again, I'm going to start off with y equals box x plus box. Okay, Now taking a look at this line, remember we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. The slope, it's flat, right? And what do we call the slope when there is none? Because it's flat, there's no steepness. Well, the slope of no steepness is just plain out old 0, right? So I'm just going to plug a 0 right in there for the slope. Now let's find the y-intercept. Well, it looks like the y-intercept is right here at -4. So then that's going to become a -4. Now think about if you were to simplify this, because this isn't simplified yet. 0 times x, or any number here times 0, whenever you multiply by 0, you get 0. So simply that just goes away. So if I were to rewrite this equation and simplify it, I would write it as y equals -4. And that would be it. The x disappears because it's being multiplied by 0. There's a 0 slope. Now, notice how in both of these two equations, there's an x and there's a y, right? And we see the line crosses through the x and the y axis, doesn't it? Same thing here, there's an x and a y, and the line crosses through the x and through the y axis at these two places. But here, there's no x in the equation. That means that this line can't ever cross through the x-axis. And do you see how it's parallel with it? It won't ever touch the x-axis. It only goes through the y-axis, right here at -4. Okay, so there's just a couple examples for you. Hopefully you feel like you could write an equation in slope-intercept form from a graph just by finding those two parts, slope and y-intercept. Thanks for joining me.